believe that, you know, just so like what I tell people is, you know, if there's somebody who inspires you, you know, and to try to do what they do, then try to do it, you know, because amazing things can happen. There's, you know, you think that, like I thought I was just trying to make a little Star Wars fan movie to just, you know, express my love of Star Wars, and then it ended up letting me become a part of Star Wars. So you never know what's going to happen. I mean, that same thing happened with Kevin Rubio, you know, making Troops, and he ended up, you know, getting to go to Skywalker Ranch. It's amazing stuff can happen, especially now that, you know, Lucasfilm has just been amazing about letting other people, you know, play in their universe and have fun with Star Wars. So, yeah, I would say Kevin Smith was a huge inspiration. When he ended up came in the movie, I think I sent him like a 10-page rambling email about, you're my hero, and I can't believe you're in the movie, and this is awesome, but he was very cool about it. But you, sir.
Yeah, could you give us some examples of some scenes that were put in the movie that you didn't shoot, and some scenes that you did shoot that didn't get in the movie that you really liked?
Sure, I can do that. The scene that makes me cringe every time, and this is a scene that Kyle shot, but we shot it because we had to. Initially, it was supposed to, the Mantina sequence was supposed to be, it was just supposed to be a nasty biker bar, and there was no dancing. It was just supposed to be, it was supposed to be like the cantina in Star Wars. They wander into this really nasty club, and they try to get help, and then things go bad, and they get into a fight, and then get thrown out. And that was like our initial idea for that scene, and it was Darth Weinstein who said, I think it should be a gay bar, a Mexican gay bar, and they should have to dance. They should have to get up and strip and dance. I'm like, yeah, this is going to be great. And the actors were not too happy about doing this, but they did it. You know, they're professionals. But like, and you know, so we had to shoot that scene, and it was Kyle's idea. Like, oh, call it the Mantina. You know, like it was like we had to do it. So like, let's try to make it fun as possible. But still, when I see it, I'm like, that scene does not belong in the movie. You know, and any of the like anti-gay kind of like 1980s like humor that's like. That just doesn't belong there is like was inserted kind of against our will. The other big scene, the other two scenes that spring to mind are, you can see one of them on the deleted scenes, I think, on the DVD and the Blu-rays. Initially, the Danny McBride scene where they are getting grilled was William Katt, The Greatest American Hero, which was one of my favorite shows when I was a kid, and I could not believe that was like another, I can't believe The Greatest American Hero is going to be in this movie. And that was kind of, we didn't have a budget to do like a big office, and it was kind of a smaller scene, so I think that it wasn't the performances or anything were wrong with that initial scene. I think that they just wanted it to be bigger in scale. But I think Danny McBride is hysterical, and I think his scene is great, and the production value is better. But that was one of the scenes that Kyle didn't shoot, was the Danny McBride version. And people love it because they love Danny McBride, but I still love that early William Katt, Greatest American Hero version of that scene. The other one is the big scene in George Lucas's office. Kyle shot a different earlier version of that scene, and George's office is kind of much smaller and looks more like his real office. But the kind of the standoff where like they're each threatening to smash the models, and like Zoe's threatening to burn the Ewok scene. I think it's funny, but the tone of it doesn't match the rest of the movie. And when I look at that, I feel like it doesn't belong in the movie. And like those whole 2 years that we were waiting for the movie to come out while they were messing with it, we already had a cut of the movie that we were showing to our friends and showing to people. And then Kyle actually showed that whole cut at Star Wars Celebration in England, in London, and got a standing ovation. So we knew we had a great movie already before they started messing with it, and there was no reason to mess with it. And but I mean, it's still, like, some people love that scene, and a lot of times people will say, you know, come up and like quote one of the things that, you know, somebody else stuck in there and say that that's their favorite thing in the movie. And movies are always collaborative, you know, you can't, and a lot of the stuff that we wanted in there is still in there, and the spirit and the ending, you know, and everything is what we intended, but there's, you know, I think that's why Kyle and I would both still love to see a director's cut, because it's, you know, you work on something that long, you want it to, the finished product to be the way that you want it, and not have people who don't know who, you know, Boba Fett is telling you how to, you know, make changes to your movie. So I'm trying to think if there's anything. A lot of the stuff too about the final cut of Fanboys that bugs me is the. Am I done? Have I talked too long?
No, you're fine. How long do you want? 1 5?
Okay. 5 minutes? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
I'll be back for it.
Is a lot of the ADR, which is additional dialogue recording, a lot of the little lines that get dropped in to try to add like an extra laugh into the scene were not stuff that we written that like you Kirk loving Spock sucker. That was not like in the original. That was something that got added. Along with like Windows like screaming after he sees the girl flash for like 5 minutes, he won't shut up about it. That was something that we didn't want. Like little moments, it's just all little stuff, but it changes the tone of the movie and just makes me cringe a little bit every time I see it. But you, sir.
I was just going to ask, because you mentioned Kyle hadn't made a movie before, if you could expand a little bit on like how the guy who hadn't made a movie before, graduated from NYU, obviously a very prominent film school. How did he come into the mix?
Well, he had made a couple short films that had actually won awards, and so he was like an acclaimed short filmmaker, and he had like shown that he knew how to make movies and tell a story with film, and was like one of the bright stars of that class of NYU. And he, but I think he ended up getting involved in another project with the producer Matt Peninciaro, who tracked me out, and then they found out that, and then I think Kyle was. He just found out that Kyle was a Star Wars fan and said, "Oh, you know, I have this project, Fanboys," and Kyle had read about it on Annie Cole News back in the day. He's like, "Oh, I thought that sounded like a great idea for a movie. What happened?" He's like, "Well, you know, I have it, and I'm trying to get it made." And then Kyle just like wouldn't leave him alone after that. You know, Kyle was like, "I've got to be the guy to make this movie, and here's why." And once you talk to Kyle, like, there's no argument. You know, clearly, like. And once I met him, I'm like, this guy knows Star Wars better than I do, but he seems like the guy, you know, and really talented and really charismatic and really great with actors, which is really important. So that's how Kyle got the job. And he and I have been working on another project, kind of a rock and roll western about Wolfman Jack that we've been trying to make with Dan Fogler, and hopefully I'm hoping that we get to, get the band back together and get to make that movie together. And a lot of people, you sir.
No, I didn't want to cut you off. Keep going.
I was just going to say, a lot of people ask about a possible sequel. I was talking about this with Jimmy Mack at the Forcecast yesterday, and anybody didn't hear. A lot of people have come up to the signing and asked about the possibility of a sequel to Fanboys, and I know that Kyle and I had talked about this on the set, like his idea for a possible sequel to Fanboys 2 Electric Boogaloo would be that Hutch, it picks up right after the after those guys walk out of watching episode 1, and Hutch is so upset about Jar Jar Binks that he vows to go to the set of episode 2 and stop George from putting Jar Jar in episode 2 or any more Star Wars movies. So he convinces Windows to go on this trip. And the other idea that Kyle had is that Hutch is like Mr. T in the A-Team, and he doesn't like to fly, so they have to take a boat to Australia. And then when they get on the boat, they discover it's one of those Star Trek cruises full of Star Trek fans. So that's like his setup for what the sequel could be, which I think could be hysterical, and then we could have cameos. I could come back and reprise my role, and Shabby too, as kind of frightening Star Trek fans.
Get Patrick Stewart for it.
Yeah, get Patrick Stewart this time. That would be amazing. Replace Shatner. But yeah, anybody else have any questions?
Was there any specific reason why Seth Rogen had 2 roles in the film?
3 roles.
He has 3 roles. A lot of people don't know. Seth is in. He plays Roach the Pimp. He plays Admiral C. Schultz, the Star Trek fan, and when Linus and Eric come up to, they first get to the Star Trek convention, and they go up to a Klingon-looking doorman and say "Scruffy Nerf Herder," the password. That's Seth Rogen, and he's in total like prosthetic makeup. You can't even tell it's him. That day on the set, you couldn't even tell it was him. It was amazing. And the way Seth Rogen ended up in the movie, he didn't even get cast. But he is best friends with Jay Baruchel, who plays Windows. And Jay Baruchel said, "Hey, I'm going down to shoot this Star Wars nerd movie in Albuquerque for a couple months, and I bet they would love to have you in the movie." So like he called up and said, "Hey, I would love to do a cameo or something." And so they started to pick out different parts that he could play, and they offered him like, "You could do any of these 3 parts." He's like, "I want to do all of them. I want to do a Peter Sellers and do every role." And he was already on his way to becoming a big star. He hadn't done Knocked Up yet, but he had been in 40-Year-Old Virgin, so like everybody was excited. He was just awesome to hang out with and great to be in the movie. And I have this great signed photo from Seth. I gave him, he never got to see his Jar Jar Binks tattoo that he had, his roach. He could never see it. He kind of saw it in the mirror but couldn't get a good look at it. So, but a photographer had taken a great photo of him, so I had like an 8x10 photo of his tattoo that I gave to him. And I had 2 copies of it, one for him and one for him to sign. And he signed it, he's like, Ernie, you rule my ass, Seth Rogen. So it's like my prized possession. I totally rule his ass. Anybody else have a question? You.
Speaking of that, the tattoo, where does the Boo-Schnickens reference come from? It's like so random, but it's hilarious.
Oh, the Boo-Schnickens?
No, Boo-Schnickens.
Boo-Schnickens? I have no idea. That was all Seth.
Okay.
What is it? A reference?
It's a hip hop group from,
It's a.
from the 90s.
Oh, okay. That's all Seth.
Yeah, that was Shaquille O'Neal's rap group, I think.
I, the writer, am learning this just now. I never knew. I just thought it was like some weird hip hop thing that he was throwing out. I had no idea it was a reference to. That's how ignorant I am of hip hop. But thank you for. Thank you. Now I can speak about that with authority. Are we all done?
That wrapped up?
I'm wrapped up. If you guys want, I have some copies of Fanboys on Blu-ray and DVD, and we have some. I have some 8x10 glossies, and I would be happy to like sign. And if you guys have anything, and I have a novel that just came out that I'm signing copies of downstairs at my signing booth. You guys are welcome to check out too. And if
35.
It's booth 35. And also, if you guys are welcome to come up here and take pictures with the tape case and the phaser that we used to suss out Trekkie bitches, you're welcome to do that. I actually have the pages from the script for both those props if anybody wants to reenact the, the suss out Trekkie bitches scenes. So yeah, just come on up and say hey, and thank you guys so much for coming.